Joma Onyato tonight. Nigeria looks forward to World Health Organization Clean Bill of Health on polio, having sustained a year without a recorded case. U.S. government condemns use of child bombers in northeast Nigeria by Boko Haram. Ahead of Senate's resumption on Tuesday, an assessment of the challenges before the leadership and the House. And America's President Barack Obama arrives in Kenya for the first visit to his ancestral home as U.S. President.
The committee retains interest rate at 13% with a corridor of plus or minus 200 basis points.
On sports news tonight, knee injury knocks out Super Falcons striker Aziza Pushola for 8 weeks. Nigeria Football Federation demands medical reports from Liverpool ladies.
The United States has once again condemned the suicide attacks being carried out by Boko Haram in both Nigeria and Cameroon, describing the acts as horrific and indiscriminate. The U.S. Senate Department, in a statement, also deplored the use of children as bombers by the sect members, saying Boko Haram's unconscionable use of children as suicide bombers and indiscriminate targeting of men, women and children highlights the group's senseless brutality, end of quote. At least 36 people were killed during Wednesday's twin explosions in Gombe State, northeast Nigeria, by bombers who attacked Darinkowa and Duku motor parks in the metropolis. The attacks came as President Muhammadu Buhari was visiting the United States, where he and President Barack Obama discussed ways of strengthening the ongoing efforts to end the insurgency. The U.S. pledged its continued support of the counter-terrorism efforts by Nigeria, Cameroon and Chad with intelligence, advisors, equipment and logistics. Now, Nigeria today marks 1 year without a fresh case of polio infection in the country, but medical experts have warned that only sustained efforts will ensure eradication of the disease. A former chief executive of the National Program on Immunization, Dr. Dere Awushika, says Nigeria has moved further without polio, but must maintain a coordinated vaccination campaign. In this next report, our correspondent Omologo Onnadi takes a look at the progress made so far and the challenges that may lie ahead.
Polio, a crippling and potentially fatal infectious disease, invades the brain and spinal cord to cause paralysis. It has no cure, but there are safe and effective vaccines which, when given to every child from birth till age 5, can prevent infection and lead to eradication of the disease. As of 1998, when the program on polio eradication commenced actively in Nigeria, there were up to 800 cases of polio annually, with little or no structure, system of operation, or trained personnel to conduct the vaccinations. By 2005, less than 10 years after, over 20 million children from 0 to 5 years were vaccinated yearly against the polio virus. As of 2014, only 6 cases were recorded.
In many parts of the country, polio was not their priority. Measles was their priority. In some parts of the country, measles, polio was not their priority. Hunger was their priority. In other parts, none of the above. Water was their priority. We went to many places that had different priorities. So you have to begin to reorientate the people.
24th July 2015 will mark 1 year without any fresh case of polio. This feat achieved through various strategies such as routine and supplementary immunization, surveillance and targeted mop-up campaigns. But experts say it is not yet time to celebrate.
Interruption is the road to eradication. It's a milestone. It's a key milestone towards eradication. And post-interruption, it takes another 2 years after interruption for 2 years of active surveillance, 2 years of strengthening quality of the campaign, 2 years of ensuring that routine immunization works very well. If within those 2 years there is a reinfection, then the counting starts again.
The endemic areas in Nigeria are in the north, with Bauchi, Kano, and Borno as 3 of the 8 states identified as main flashpoints. But officials of polio emergency centers say that is history.
This is our 22nd month without case. The last case of polio was on the 2nd of September 2013, and the last case of circulating was in November 2012. No polio compatibles, and we have met all the surveillance indicators.
It is the responsibility of the World Health Organization to certify Nigeria as having interrupted polio. And this can only be confirmed when 2 remaining samples in the lab, which have undergone series of tests for months now, are cleared as negative. 3 months ago, they gave Nigeria the clean bill towards interruption.
Tomorrow, 24th of April, we are going to reach 9 months without any WPV, the wild polio virus. We need to continue to build on the gains that we have gained so far. And I would like to commend the government of Nigeria for what has been achieved.
Nigeria was the first country ever to conduct a house-to-house immunization for polio and is the only country yet to procure its vaccines from UNICEF. These are steps in the right direction. But why has it taken the country 17 years to get here?
The delay is because there was misconception for polio vaccine. Now we have a common understanding that is for our children not to get paralyzed, but to be healthy Nigerians and healthy world citizens for tomorrow. We definitely are about to interrupt polio.
Despite the commendable improvement in the last 2 years, there are still challenges to surmount, such as security in hard-to-reach areas, pockets of refusal by mothers of children within vaccination age, and weak routine immunization. A polio-free Nigeria is within reach, experts have said, but you need the power of a horse to do the job of polio eradication. And if you do not immunize one child, you put 200 more children at risk. However, one thing is clear. Maintaining momentum in Nigeria is crucial for a polio-free Africa. And with the right political will, Nigeria will celebrate a future free of polio soon. Omelogo Nadi, Channels Television News.
All right, now to give us more insight into Nigeria's battle against polio, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by the Chairman, National Polio Plus Committee, Dr. Tunji Funsho. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right, for 1 full year, there's been no new polio case. How were we able to achieve that? What's kept the virus at bay?
I think, of factors. Just to tell you where we're from. I mean, we're coming from a situation where we were having 350,000 cases of polio every year in 125 countries around the world, to a situation where we now have 3 countries. Nigeria is gradually leaving the club of those 3 countries, which were Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Nigeria. When Rotary International started this drive in 1985 to tell the world that polio is an eradicable disease, we had a huge, unsurmountable hurdle. Now, with the support of governments around the world, and WHO, UNICEF, CDC, and the Bill Gates Foundation, we have come to the point where we have come to today because, 1, continued government commitment in terms of ensuring that all tiers of government participate. In terms of enlightenment, earlier on, Dr. Awoshika was talking about some of the earlier challenges that got us stuck. Part of those, I think, when we're going to do this again, we would not assume that people understand what this is all about. I think we should try a huge amount of education. So one of the ways that we have surmounted the earlier challenges is actually to go flat out, educating our communities through traditional leaders, through religious leaders, and with the support of our Rotary members across the country to disabuse people's minds and educate them about the need and the safety of the polio vaccine.
Well, before now, the transmission of this virus appeared to be limited to, a few states in the northern region. What are you doing differently beyond the education that you were talking about? What did you do differently this time around?
Well, one of the major things that have helped us to move forward is enunciating a lot of strategies. One is the fact that the quality of immunization activities on a door-to-door basis has improved. The quality of staff has improved. The quality of supervision has improved. Accountability has improved. And to a very large extent, the human resource that has been brought to bear to ensure that every child is reached has increased. For instance, we have volunteer community mobilizers that had been increased from about 2,500 in 2012 to almost 10,000 as of this point in time. Those are the huge amount of infrastructure and resources that have been brought to bear to get this virus under control.
Right. To be certified polio-free, we understand Nigeria has to be free from any case. We have to have a 3-year unbroken record. Can we sustain that current momentum, and is that correct? All right, we appear to have lost him there, but Dr. Tunji Funsho, who is the chairman, National Polio Plus Committee. All right, we have him back now. And what I was trying to ask you there was that we understand we have to have a 3-year unbroken record in terms of any recorded case. Is that true? And if it is, can we sustain our current momentum right now?
Yeah, that is very true. We just celebrating a milestone. I think all of us are part of history, both the government and partners, and also the news organizations that have helped us tremendously in spreading the news of the efficacy and safety of the vaccine. But then this is just the beginning. We have to ensure that we continue what we have been doing and expect that we may have further challenges and some of those challenges for another 2 years. It is only then that WHO can use the criteria to certify us polio-free if we sustain our routine immunization activities and ensure that our surveillance system is robust, not only for the AFP, which is acute practice paralysis, that is the symptoms we get in children who have polio, but also in ensuring that in our environment, we have no live viruses. We have about 40 areas now where samples are taken to ensure that there's no more polio virus in our environment. So a very strong surveillance system is very important. If we can maintain this for another 2 years and no polio case, then we can safely say, as far as Nigeria is concerned, we are out of the woods. We now wait for the other 2 countries to be certified polio-free before we can start relaxing. Because as long as any child in the world succumbs to polio, then no child in the world is safe.
All right, Chairman,
everywhere the world is clear, we are all still vulnerable. Our children under the age of 5 are vulnerable.
Indeed. Chairman, National Polio Plus Committee, Dr. Tunji Funsho, thanks a lot for joining us on the news at 10 tonight. And in part 2, after the break, President Muhammadu Buhari guarantees press freedom in the country. That's in a moment. Just stay with us.